Hello, everybody. This is John Browning on the Building Your Life podcast. It's a weekly podcast for those of you who haven't been with us before. And Michael Dillon is off today, and we have a very special guest with us, Lei Wang. And what is amazing about Lei is that, and I'm going to have her explain this because I will mess it up, but not only is she she's summited 7 times. I think the only Asian woman to have ever done that. And I can't wait for you to explain that. But also you did the Grand Slam Explorers, which I really want you to explain what that is. Bottom line is that she's also a published author 2 times. One is called After the Summit, right? And the other one is called Yes, I Can. And you said it before Obama said it, right?
Exactly.
Yes. You just get that clear. Obama got it from Lei, not the other way around, right?
Yeah.
So I'm super excited about this. Everyone that has listened to the podcast before already knows how to get in contact with me. You can visit me at guardianrockwealth.com and hit the contact us button, and you can get in touch with me, or you can text the word life. LIFE to 21,000. Ask me anything you want, download my card, watch my video, whatever you'd like to do. I will pretty much literally talk to anyone if I can add some value or help them in any way. And while we normally kind of focus on the financial side of things, we really want to concentrate on exactly what the name of this podcast is, which is Build Your Life, not just your portfolio. And I think Lei is going to share some things with us, some great insights from her life, her past, and what she does as a speaker and a coach that is really going to prove valuable to everyone listening to the podcast today. So Lei, I'm going to ask you to, at some point, we're going to make sure people know how to get in contact with you. I know it's journeywithlei.com is your website, and there's all types of really good information on that website. But I guess my first thing is just sort of introduce yourself and tell us what exactly does it mean to summit 7 times, and what exactly is the whole Grand Slam Explorer? You got to explain this because I think it's fascinating.
Thank you, John, for the amazing introduction. So let me explain what I actually did. Is called Explorers Grand Slam. That is climbing the highest mountains on each of the 7 continents, which normally people call the 7 summits, and also ski to the North Pole and the South Poles. So when I finished, I was, I don't remember how many people in the world have done it before, probably just about a dozen or so when I finished. And I was, I think I was the 4th woman in the world to complete that. And actually, that is not what I'm most proud of, the saying, oh, I did this. What I'm proud of is actually, I didn't grow up as an athlete. I grew up a book nerd. I was a best student all the way. I grew up in China, and typical Asian kids, Chinese kids, I am one of them. All I cared about was study, study, study. I am excellent in exams. I'm great getting into the best school I can get into, find the best job I can get to. I can look great on the paper. However, I was never athletic. I never even know there's something you can pursue outside your academic study. So that track, how I changed my trajectory of my life, how I pursued that dream from a point of with no athletic foundation, no training, a pure book nerd, to go on that path. That's what I was proud of.
It's amazing anyway. I grew up in West Virginia. And for those of you who know West Virginia and know the difference between the mountains of West Virginia, which we call the mountains, I think you would probably call them small hills. And I remember walking up the side of, a West Virginia mountain, and it would take all day and I would be done. I was done when I would do something like that. And to scale Mount Everest, which has to be several hundred West Virginia, or maybe 1,000 West Virginia mountains, is just amazing to me. Not to mention skiing to the poles is just cold. That's just downright unbelievably cold. And having spent a lot of my life in Chicago, I think I know cold. I bet you have a whole different definition of cold.
Yeah, definitely the cold, like especially on the trip to Antarctica, that cold level was beyond my ever can imagine, because I never know what do you mean by spending all day under 40 degrees that you came back and when you look like you found there's a piece of ice on your face and then you realize, oh, that part of your face is frozen. It's got frostbite already. You don't feel anything. You can be outside all day without knowing you already got frostbite. And like when we was doing our trek to the South Pole for a whole day, 8 to 10 hours walk, sometimes I just couldn't even stop to drink or eat or anything, not because we don't have time, because if I stop to eat and drink, I cannot warm up again. Then I'll get like hyperthermia, get like unable to continue. So I have to keep on going until the time to call the day. You can hide in your tent and eat and drink.
Wow. See, okay, so that leads to kind of my first question. I know that you have a lot on your website and you talk a bit on in your book. So I think, and I kind of got a little bit of this before when you said you were kind of the bookworm and you were the academic person. Maybe that's part of the why, but one has to ask yourself why. What drove you to do that?
Yeah, that is, I think the why is a great question, and actually it's the most important question we need to ask ourselves. So when I first started, I was like, is there something wrong with me? With this kind of academic background, with this kind of credential on my resume, why you want to abandon your career, try to go climbing? So at that time, asking why, I wasn't really clear exactly why. Then whenever I'm facing the cold, facing the risks of all kinds of danger on the mountain, I keep asking myself, why? Why are you putting yourself through this? It's not like you spending time hopping between 5-star hotels. People think, oh, you're on vacation, but come on, not everyone take this kind of vacation. You are suffering, you are like starving, you don't sleep well, you get sick.
Your face is frozen.
Yeah. So like every time I'm asking, like people ask me why, I ask myself why too. And even after I finish Everest, I will still keep asking like why? Because the truth is, as we grow, the why is a simple question, but the answer is changing all the time. So at beginning, I was thinking, oh, maybe this is, I was thinking, okay, this is my passion. That's why. Then later on, they're like, okay, why you have this passion? Because you had this education all the way is studying books. How you say you have a passion for climbing mountains, right? What's the logical sense there? What's the deeper behind it? You can say, yeah, it's fun going to the mountain, going to nature, like meditation, like relaxing, like make you introspect, make you have more time to think through many things. That's great, but why? What's deeper behind it? So every year I've been asking that why and why. So right now my understanding is no matter where we are in our life stage, doesn't matter you're young, you're old, you're people in the school, or you're working in a corporate career track, we're an entrepreneur, down deep in our heart, we all want something exciting. We all seek something exciting, but the excitement of everyone is different. So at that stage, at beginning, I thought, oh, excitement is going to have fun in the mountains, physical challenge, seeing the world, like overcoming obstacles, that's exciting. But later on, I just that more and more deeper inside the heart, we all want to do something meaningful, impactful, purposeful. It's just how we connect with that at a different life stage is different. So I like this question. I encourage everyone, keep on thinking about why everything you're doing. Even the thing you did in 10 years ago, why you did it. You're going to find different answers, and you're going to discover new meaning, new purpose for your life.
I think you're absolutely right. I talk to people on a regular basis that have never truly thought, number one, about why, but I really haven't truly thought about what or where they're going. It's a really interesting statistic that keeps being sort of, they do another poll and the same thing comes up, and another poll and the same answer comes up, that 75% of Americans in the United States have not put together a formal plan for what they want their life to be. Normally it's talking about a financial plan, but what I always tell people is the tool, that's a tool, right? It's not, it's like, you use a certain number of, and they have very important tools to climb, say Mount Everest, or to ski to the poles. And money is just that, it's just a tool, but you have to know how to use it. And if you put skis, if you put me in a pair of skis, I could get somewhere, I'm okay, but I'm nowhere near what this type of skill that you had to have had and endurance that you had to have had to get to the poles on your skis. So the idea of having an expert or a mentor or a coach in your life that has been there, has done that before, is so important, which is a big part of what you do, right? I know that you're a speaker, and I've seen some of your speeches, which are awesome, by the way. But a big part of what you do is coaching and executive coaching, right? Tell us a little bit of, just a little snippet about what that is and what that means to be a coach.
Yeah, definitely. So actually, I had no idea about the concept of coaching, like in my past career life, because in the past career life, you just follow so-called career track. After you graduate from college, you should get a beginner position, then you keep on ascending the ladders in your career track. Sounds like everything is straightforward, or you just need someone sponsor you in your career growth. But the harder part of growth is growing as a person. So it doesn't matter what's your position. You're a leader in your company. To lead a business, to lead your team, first of all, you lead yourself. To lead yourself, it's all about personal growth. So when I first started pursuing my climbing dream, I had no one guiding me at the beginning. I was lost, I was confused, I was struggling. And then I realized those people who every time they touched my heart is point out something I was overlooking in my personal growth. Because in my climbing, like for example, in my training, when I'm not pushing hard enough in my training, actually is my mental weakness that also reflect in other part of my life. Like I shy away from something risky. I was scared of taking a big step, not just in my training, also in my personal life. So I just found that so revealing, so enlightening. When I look back and oh wow, without those coaches in my climbing career, I wouldn't be able to do the thing I did for the 7 summits and ski to the North Pole and the South Pole. So after I finished my climbing, I got into speaking because a lot of people want to hear what I learned. And I realized, oh, I am someone who speaks English as a second language, and I'm kind of shy introvert. I'm not the person natural on the stage. There are a lot of things I need to learn. So I know based on my experience in climbing, I know I need coaches. I need a coach to help me to gain my speaking skills and to be comfortable on the big stage. And the more I experience coaching, the more I read how much they touched my life, how much they moved me forward. So as I got more into speaking, I feel one thing not very satisfying is when you're speaking on the stage, you get people applaud you, get people say nice things about you. You see your face on the big screen, everywhere is all about you. It's great for an ego. However, most important, most rewarding part of that, I feel kind of missing is what I liked most is whenever after speaking, someone came to me, emailing me, talking to me in person, telling me what my speech meant for them, what they did differently because of my speech. That's a moment of, oh, wow, now I see why I'm standing on the stage. What's the payoff of my effort? So that's what motivated me to get into coaching, because I want to see the direct impact I can make in people's life, because that helped me to grow from my climbing, from my speaking, building my business, growing as a person. So that's what motivated me. I want to do that for other people, help leaders grow as a person, as a leader, so you can lead your team, lead your business to the best.
I find the same exact thing where, if I'm speaking in front of a group of people, it's really nice, right? Everybody's generally speaking, people are polite, they like what you have to say, you get great reactions. But what really gets my juices flowing, so to speak, is when somebody says, I really like this. Number one, it tells you that they were listening to what you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
But also you really made an impact right then, and it impacted them enough that they told you about it. And a lot of times what that turns into is again a coaching relationship, or a relationship where I help them build their life in their portfolio. And it literally, not to be melodramatic, but it literally can change their life for the better.
Mm-hmm.
So that really is it for me too, is the charge and the feeling that you get from seeing somebody move forward. And I've actually just recently done that with a couple of younger people that I'm working with. People think that financial advisors only work with old people, right? Like myself. I'm getting there, right? But I really enjoy working with young people too. And so I've got an 18-year-old, I've got some 20-something-year-olds that I really enjoy just coaching. And they don't have much of a portfolio yet, but they're learning and they're driven to want to do better and build their best life from the beginning and build that foundation. So it's a lot of fun. And I know that some of them, because that's part of my coaching program, is I have them listen to this podcast. So what I would really love is if you could say something to the 20-somethings, those young professionals that are just getting out there, just getting started and want to build their best life. What are like the top 1, 2, 3 things that you would say to them as far as how can they get started and build their best life?
Yeah, that's a great question. Actually, I've been often thinking, like, what's the difference between people who are 20 years old versus people who are 40 or 50 years old? So I just reflect on my own life. Like, I remember, I bet most people in 20s, you feel fearless. You feel you have a lot of time. You feel you have the big future ahead of you. However, you also don't know what's the possibility ahead of you. You know you have a big future, but you don't know actually that future is boundless. There's no limit to how high you can reach. But we didn't know, we didn't go for that. Instead, we followed advice from our parents, from our school, from people in ahead of you on the corporate ladder. You see that as a track you follow. You didn't think beyond what is possible. So that was my life. Before I started this dream, I was graduated from working with an MBA in finance. I started my job in investment management. I was living the high life of Back Bay in Boston. That I was living the typical life that people think that's a great life. I never thought what was missing until I just luckily hit this dream of climbing. That's made me start to think, climbing, what is climbing for someone who had an MBA, who had this well-paid job, this lifestyle? What does that mean? Why you want to go climbing? Then I realized in my past life, all I have done was following the track laid out by other people. Climbing opened up another possibility for me to ask, what do I really want? Because when the climbing dream hit me at the time, I was like, why? How did this happen? That nobody even hint in my life that you should think about climbing. You should think about something beyond your corporate life, think about something beyond your traditional education. I never thought about it. So that opened up my mind to say, okay, then who said I cannot? It's not on my laid out on my track, but who said I should not even try, should not consider? So I encourage myself to take that step because I realized when we're young, we think something ahead of us. We based on our past 20 years, 25 years experience to decide how to make that decision, which is really hard. So that time I would just pat myself on the shoulder if I had a smart idea. So, okay, I don't know how to decide my career track or climbing with all the resume, education behind me. But if I am 80 years old right now, look back to my life, what would I say to that 25 years old, to that 30 years old? What is biggest myth? Should you just stay here, collect the paycheck, not knowing what you are doing and following other people, or you should explore something unknown, something maybe scary, but for some reason caught your heart that you think you have a passion in it. You're not so sure. Should you try to explore that or not? So I said, okay, that's pretty clear because when I was young, 25, 30 years old, if I give up my current position, I know I'm smart, I can learn, I can work hard, I can come back. If turned out my dream was an illusion, I should come back to my career. I still have time to pursue that. However, if I would run the other way, which my dream is my real passion, I didn't pursue. Only time I'm going to be able to review that will be when I'm 70, 80 years old, lying on the chair, facing the sun and looking back at my life. Oh, I wish I had tried when I was young. So I would say to the young people, if you think something sparks in your heart, enlightening you some way, go try it because you have so much future ahead of you. There's so boundless possibilities. Go try it. You can afford to try something unknown, something risky. Go try it.
I love that. That is fantastic. I'm gonna cut that out, and I'm gonna make sure that all of my 20 somethings to 30, right around in there, that they listen to that, maybe even with me in the room, because I want to make sure they get all that. That was great. Now, along those same lines, though, I chat with some people that are, say, my age, and they're just hitting 50, maybe they're in their 40s, and they feel like things are impossible. I've gotten so far behind, or there's all sorts of excuses, right, that we tell ourselves, and our mindset just goes the wrong direction, and we don't think we can set those impossible goals. I know you talk about setting impossible goals. That's one of your kind of things. But what would you say to somebody kind of in that age group, maybe they've turned 50, 52, 53, and they're feeling a little bit like it's too late. I can't do anything about this. What would you say to them?
Yeah. So for right now, I'm much later in my life now. But sometimes I still face a similar kind of questions like, oh, there's something interesting. Should I try it or not? Oh, I want to live in a different place. I want to try a different kind of career track or different business, start a new operation, new business. Should I try it? A lot of time we're going to, I know a lot of people are going to, I have a mortgage behind me. I have kids going to school, and I have already 20 years in my career, and I only have 10 years left. I can go retire and everything. So I have a lot of things to lose if I try something new, try something risky. So what is holding us back at that time is not you don't know their possibility you should explore. It's we have fear because we have the sunk cost. You fear if you take this step, you're going to lose a lot. But the thing is, the past 20 years, 30 years, yes, laid a great foundation. But just like a financial portfolio, past history doesn't predict future profitability, right?
That's right.
So
that's right.
It doesn't matter how good your portfolio was performing for the past 20, 30 years. All it matters, what's your investment decision today? So investment in your portfolio, investment in your life, decision you're making today, how that will affect tomorrow. So if this decision going to make your next 10 years better, doesn't matter that's different from what you have been doing for the past 20 years, you should take that. I can give you a very small, tiny example I faced in just like past few years. So I have lived in Boston for more than 15 years. And when I first moved to Boston, I told myself, this is a great city. I want to live here for 10 years. Then I want to go to West Coast. I want to explore the world. However, I lived there. After 10 years, I was still there. I asked myself, you said you're going to stay here for 10 years. Why are you still here? Oh, yeah, I have this many friends. I want to spend one more year with this great circle of friends. Oh, I want to check out more of the resources Boston had to offer. Oh, there are more things I need to finish in Boston. So I kept on procrastinating, didn't take the action. Then finally, I get sick of myself. What exactly is going on? Why are you still here? You said you're going to move, but you're not moving. Oh yeah, I have excuses because I don't know where to move. Because where to move, yes, hard to make a decision. Also, it's scary because I have all my friends involved and I have all the connection involved. If I move to a new place, I'm starting from scratch. I don't know anyone. How I'm going to build my circle of friends support, which is super important. And also how I'm going to build my business from no connection again. So that sounds scary. Then I asked myself, well, when you came to United States at 20 years old, you had no money, no family, no one. You know nothing. You just flew into the airport, landed, and went to the school with no money. Why you didn't ask your question that time? I said, yeah, what's the difference between when I'm 20, when I'm 40? There's no difference. Only thing is the fear in your head. So I said, okay, if I'm 20 years old right now, I say I want to go to West Coast to explore. Would I just pick up my bag and go? I would. Then say, what's wrong with being 40 now? Why you cannot go? All right, no excuses. So I kicked myself out of my home. Before I travel, I put everything into storage. I closed the apartment, everything. So after I came back from one trip, I got back to Boston, realized I don't have a home. All I can go to is Airbnb. Oh, okay. Airbnb cannot be a permanent home, so you can't stay here forever. So go somewhere else. So I just had to start driving out west. So that's how I landed in Seattle. And the world opened up. I discovered the great Northwest, the mountains, the gorgeous weather, the terrain, people. I made new connections, new friends, life getting a new start, and it's refreshing. So that's the same for everything else. It's scary, especially when you're older. It's scary to take the first step into something unknown. But that opened up new possibilities. And also, as you get older, you're wiser. You know, it's okay to ask for help. So that's why, like a coaching, that's why I love coaching, like helping people. So you feel free to ask for help. There are people who have been through that path can support you, and you have the wisdom behind you, and plus the courage. Now you're going to be projecting into the new future even faster.
I love that last part. When you get older, you start to realize that it's okay to ask for help. And how much stronger are you if you have somebody else's experience and wisdom intertwined with yours? And then you add maybe another and another and another. How much stronger do you become as an individual? Like you said, you probably had several coaches, not just one,
Right.
when you were climbing and when you're getting ready to go to the poles and all that. So I have absolutely loved this podcast. I know we got to get going here. I know your time is valuable. I want to do this again though, because there's like
Definitely.
several different questions that I want to add to this, but I always try and keep these short, sweet, and valuable for people. So if people need to contact you, if they want to contact you for either coaching or speaking or just to chat with you for a little bit, how is the best way for them to do that?
Well, please check out my website, journeywithlei.com. Lei spelled Lei. So that journey with leilei.com. And my email is lei, Lei, at journeywithlei.com. I'm happy to offer the audience of this podcast a free coaching session to get you started. And also check out, I have group programs, and I'm going to have a New Year's early start boot camp to help you get started on 2022 on the right foot.
Oh, I love that. Okay. All right. And that's what's nice. You and I both will talk to kind of anybody, and we'll give you a taste of what coaching is and what it's like. And so you'll understand why it can be or how it can be so incredibly valuable. And so I'm looking forward to people seeing this, coming to you and getting some good solid wisdom of life. And I'm looking forward to doing this again. Like we've got to definitely,
I love this.
At least one more time, maybe several.
Thank you. And may I just add, because you mentioned a lot of people don't really understand what's the value of coaching. I just have a simple explanation. So when I was speaking, people will say, I'm so inspired. I'm so motivated. What coaching does is make you do things, to take action, get results. So I don't want people just say, I'm inspired. It's really amazing. I want people to tell me, this is what I'm going to do, and this is what the result I know that I'm going to get. So coaching is what moves you, get you the action. That's why coaching works.
Well, I'm really glad you added that, because, and I'm going to steal some of that explanation. So, because that's exactly right. You know, when I speak in front of a group, right, you get that, right? Like, oh, this is great. I'm going to do this, but does anybody ever actually do it? And maybe a few, but the coaching is, well, how do you do that? And keeping up the effort and actually doing the execution, because a plan or an inspiration is that's all it is. The result comes only when you execute, only when you take action, and that's what coaching is.
Exactly. And I may steal a line from someone, I don't recall who is it. It's saying, if knowledge can make you rich, everyone will be rich on this planet, because you have plenty of books, information online. You can read any information, you can find anything online. Why is not everyone rich? Why is not everyone successful? Because you need to take real actions. That's what coaching gets you to do.
Yeah, exactly. That's fantastic. Thank you so much for taking the time out and being on the Build Your Life podcast. And we will do this again.
Thank you. I love this.
All right. We'll see everybody next week on the Build Your Life podcast with John Browning, and have a great week.